What's going on, people? Welcome back to another Sinclair TV. Back again this afternoon. I've got Kevin from NUFC Matters, and he's from Atalanta, Toon Army Atlanta. Kevin, how are you, mate?
I'm good, mate. How are you? How about everybody in the chat watching?
Fantastic stuff, fantastic stuff. And on this gloomy Saturday afternoon back home, it's cloudy, not a sun in the sky, unfortunately, threatening to rain, but there you go. So, guys, if you like the video, like what you see, then please give it a like, subscribe, and also do follow Chilvers Kevin on his Twitter account. And if you'd like to become a member, it's just 99p, and then you'll be entered into a voucher draw worth 50 quid. And if you like the super chat, you know exactly what to do, guys. So just go through some comments straight away. Hi to Andrew DB, workout done, now going to join the show in the physical bath. Big up to Alan, Andrew, thank you very much indeed. Hi to Leslie, you know the stuff. And super chats are available, like I've said. Thank you, Les. And hey to Neil, welcome to the chat. And welcome to the chat to JK. Mr. Proudlock, hi to you. On Harvey, we're having at Toon. Yes, he's a decent player. And I've done the content called Harvey Bomb Scout Reports. Do check out on that as well. The numbers are rising. And welcome to the channel, Kevin. And Tom, big up to you, Tom. What's nice and sunny earlier, cloud and rain. Now, though, it's like a flipping weather forecast, isn't it? I'd love to get paid for that for BBC. Thank you, Tom. Right, Kevin, we've got to find out what I know about you, being a Newcastle United fan from Georgia and GA. And tell me, why do you support Newcastle United? How long do you support Newcastle? And what is your finest moments being a Newcastle fan?
A lot to unpack, but originally it was through my dad. He was...
Yeah.
Well, my mom and dad actually met at St James's Park back in the 70s against Ipswich, I believe, in the Leeds' end. So it's pretty much ingrained in me. So I was destined to be a Newcastle United fan. So ever since then, my dad went to games, mostly home games, some away games. But then in the 93 season, that was my first game against Tottenham. Teddy Sheringham scored that late winner. But my mom took me. My dad was on the opposite side, and so I had to get a ticket somehow and get in. But the following season in the 94, me and my dad got a season ticket. I've had one ever since. So those were pretty big moments right off the bat to start supporting this great club.
Fantastic, fantastic stuff. Yeah, I mean, look, at the end of the day, right? I mean, you know, like I missed the season tickets in 2000 because it would hold 36,000 capacity and I had no chance of getting the tickets. But when they expanded the stadium to 52,000, I think it's a cracking idea from 36 to 52k. Yeah. It's a fantastic idea. Then gives more people a chance to get their tickets, go in. Wow, what can I say?
Exactly right. Yeah, and I remember with some of the issues what they're having now with movement of things, and I remember moving 2 or 3 times just to keep a hold of the season ticket. But we were asked, or my parents were asked, where do you want to sit, where do you want to go? I know it wasn't any arguments about it. Long as I'm inside the thing, I'm not really worried about where I sit, as long as I can get in there, you know. So again, I'm blessed enough to have a season ticket still to this day. You know, through the dark times, through the good times, whatever. So we'll still have one.
Yeah, absolutely right. Tom, Mark Lee, I can't read the next comment out yet. Unfortunately, it's not going to be disclosed on my channel at all whatsoever. I've got big respect for Paul, but I will not read that channel. Thank you very much indeed. Hi to Julie Jackson. I hope you're okay, Julie. I know you want to come on your channel at some stage. Just give us a shout, let me know, and I should get you on at some stage. I got one from Tom again. Can't wait to get some football again. Going over the Gateshead for Newcastle Saturday. 4 tickets for the Cellar Cup to £55 for 5 games. Just really, really good. Yeah, what do you think of that? Are you going to come to the Cellar matches for America, or is it going to be too much of an ask for you?
Yeah, I wish. Yeah, my mom's here on holiday, so she's here until August, and plus then I've got my kids coming and things like that. But we're going to the Premier League Summer Series against Chelsea, so we're going to that. All 8 of family members and 1 mate from work, all workplaces coming, who's an adopted Newcastle fan now. So we're going to tear the Mercedes-Benz up, we could say that. We'll see we'll create a bit of carnage in there. So I'll stick over here because it's a little bit nicer. It's and sunnier.
Yeah, it looks beautiful over there, done in Georgia, man. Oh my God, I'd love to be over in America right now, and I'd love to go to the games as well. But unfortunately, I kind of get time off and the money as well. But next time, hopefully next season, it's going to be an absolute 100% goal. But there you go.
Yep.
So yeah, I mean, look, on that time under Kevin Keegan, and he got us back in the Premier League, and which players do you enjoy watching? Your hero. And your time.
I played as a wide midfielder back in the day. So not Newcastle United related, but I love watching David Beckham play, and I took a lot of things from his game in terms of crossing the ball and things like that. But from a Newcastle perspective, it was like the likes of David Ginola, Peter Beardsley, Rob Lee, and obviously Alan Shearer scoring goals, but I was never the goal scorer. I was the one who put the ball in the box for them to score. So I was very fortunate to watch and see live that type of football. I didn't appreciate it at the time because I just showed up and watched it and learned and seen and pretty much smash everybody all over the place. Every home game near enough and away games. But it was quite a few, not many defensive players because I'm not a defensive-minded player / coach, so I was all about the offensive players. I would say David Ginola, Peter Beardsley, who's probably one of the greatest footballers I've ever seen. Those three or four stick out. But yeah, as I got older and developed a little bit more, it was more like a David Beckham style type of player, and that was a nickname when I played in a pub football team. I was called Baby Becks and stuff with the blonde hair and blue eyes and all the rest.
But you're better than David Beckham, by the way.
I wish I had his money. I was close.
Oh yes. I mean, look, at the end of the day, you mentioned Peter Beardsley. I met Peter Beardsley. I can qualify for you and people in the chat that are saying that he's one of an absolute ledge. He's a ledge. I had my photo taken with the guy, and you know what? He is so polite. When I spoke to him, he absolutely smiled. So I must have done something right there. But
yeah, and I used to work at the stadium, so within the corporate hospitality side of things, and I've never seen, along with Sir Bobby, walking from one end of the corporate areas to another part of the corporate areas in about 45 minutes. It took him longer to do that than a game of football type of thing, because you're right, he's humble, he'll talk to you. I spoke to him because I seen him regularly. He just started talking to me, and similar with John Beresford, who'd done the little chats and rooms and stuff like that. So I got to know them pretty well, and you just see him off and on here or there and have a chat about football, how things go, and what just being normal. So that was nice. So yeah, Peter's a good guy. I like Peter.
I do as well. It's absolutely brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Obviously, I have to ask you, what has been your greatest match you've ever seen in a black and white shirt? Your memorable game?
I'm just thinking. I've had a few, to be fair. Obviously, the Man, when I was a young'un, I would say it was the 5-0 against Man United, because that was around my birthday time back in the 90s. But the biggest one for me was in the Champions League, actually, when we went to Feyenoord and we won, and Craig Bellamy scored in the last minute, and I was there. I was in the stadium live watching that, and that was, based on the story, the scenario, we had to win all 3 games to qualify into the next group stage or into the next round, the knockouts, after losing the first 3, and then go away to Feyenoord, which is not the most. It's quite a hostile place to go play a game of football, So I was fortunate enough to see that live and let the carnage ensue after the 90 minutes. I've never seen an amount of people fall on top of me celebrating in all my entire life. Another one is Inter Milan away when we drew 2-2. That was another memorable one, which we should have won. I've got a few, but those ones that stick out mainly just based on the whole trip and being with my dad and some other friends that we went there. So that was pretty. They were pretty special to me.
Yeah, I've been to Inter Milan as well, away with you 2 seats. I mean, I bought a ticket for £12.50.
Oh, wow.
12 quid at the time. What happened was I had a telephone call from the club and they said my credit card details was wrong. I said, oh, it must be the date then, because I knew I did something wrong. So all of a sudden, the card went through and I said, how much is it going to cost? It's going to be about 50 quid. He goes, no, 12 quid. I said, 12 quid, really? And I'm thinking, wow, 12 quid for a ticket for at San Siro. I tell you what, that's back 2003. Now we're talking about 50, 60 quid now, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
But touching on tickets as well, I mean, the season tickets has gone up. Mine's gone up a bit. And you got these Champions League tickets as well, which is going to be 55 quid each, 165 quid for the package, 30 quid for FA Cup games, 20 quid for the Carling Cup games. Do you think the club, and I know people are mourning about tickets, these tickets gone up, etc., do you think the club are right to put the tickets up? Are you happy with the prices that they went up?
Hey, I'm not paying for my season ticket, so I'm not bothered really. But no,
fair enough.
it was always going to happen. Success comes with that. You know, you have to. You know, I mean, it's a very small increase regardless. There was always going to be an increase. There was always going to be some. It has to have to generate other revenues.
Yeah.
Even if it's £1, £2, £3, whatever it is, depending on where you sit. It's all relative to the corporate hospitality are going up tenfold from what I'm hearing and what I understand. But as a regular season ticket, it's only going up like £2 or £3 a game or something like that. I can't recall, but yeah. If you want success, that's what you're going to have to do. You know, that's just part of the business. Unfortunately, but fortunately for us, it's a double-edged sword in some respects.
Yeah. For well, at the end of the day, it just goes up and goes up. Like, you know, if it's going to go on to better player sort of thing, with the money going up and improve the stadium and do better things, then cool, that's fine. You know what I mean? But the good thing is paying on direct debit, which is fantastic. I've got one from Tom. Please keep these comments coming through. Please smash the likes. I had the season ticket since 1991. Keep a hold of it ever since. Tom, good for you, man. Good for you. Afternoon to Mr. Little. And if he's from Northumberland, or if he's from Durham, or if it's Newcastle, Alan, you are an absolute ledge. You really, really are. And when we expand to James's, I hope to try and get a season ticket with a lot of luck. And that's from JK. Yes, I'm part of that as well, JK. And everyone's saying having to the ledge. And go on to Julie again. Julie, I appreciate you came in early this time, and Brian too. I tried around 98, no chance. Then I moved away, so maybe one day. And yes, you know, don't give up your dreams, Jay. Don't give up your dreams. Welcome back to Carlos in the chat. I hope you're great. And I think I'll question any questions for Kevin. Just get them fired over, and he'd be happy to answer the game. 5-0 against United, a great game. Let's hope more the same against United. That's from Alan. And people are saying that which United, Man United, but I don't say United sometimes, but there you go. Purely as a game of football, one of the best matches I've seen was the 3-0 draw against Tottenham St James's Park in May '95. Both teams went at it, 2 red cards each. Beardsley and Klinsmann both outstanding. You know what? They were fantastic. Klinsmann, a credit to the Premier League as well. You've seen the third kit, it's disgusting. The home and away, I love this new one. I've not seen the third away kit. Have you seen it, Kevin?
No, I haven't. No, I've normally I see certain things, whatever, but no, I haven't seen anything drop or anything leaked or whatever. But no, I'm just enjoying this. I like the home one. Don't get me wrong, but I'm more of an away third kit type one because I'm a little bit different. I'm a little bit odd when it comes to shirts. I like different. So yeah, I'm loving this new one.
Good stuff, good stuff. Hi to Steve, by the way, and one I don't like it. Fair enough, Brian. Yeah, we've gone on from your best moments for your worst moments of being a Newcastle fan, and I think there's quite a few.
Yes, but yeah, Mike Ashley, 14 years. There's one. Probably obviously the 2 relegations. You know, you just didn't see that occur, and obviously growing up watching the club for the length of time that I had been up until that point, until 2009. But that it was funny because I moved over here permanently in 2009. So when I moved over here to the United States permanently, the club I love get relegated and it was very difficult to watch games from that point. So yeah, that'll be probably the standout where just two disappointments really, the two relegations, and thankfully we bounced back straight away with wouldn't say good ownership, I would say good management and good coaching to get us back up straight away. So I would say those two, just getting relegated. I don't like losing, so
yeah, I don't either as well. I don't like losing, but still, bless you. We got one from Julie J. Not in for a kit like the other two. Yes, and the worst ever Stewart retiring. That's fair enough. Must have missed his own, by the way. Second Stuart's class got mine last week. Alan got mine as well. And got a bit of breaking news as well. We're going to the next one. Ayutza Perez, remember him, guys? He's just signed a 4-year contract with Real Betis.
Mm-hmm.
He's not exactly been a success at Leicester City, really, hasn't he? So
no, yeah, he's in and out.
In and out. Exactly. So speaking news there. So yeah, I mean, you touched on Mike Cash. We have to discuss him. I know that I don't want to spend all day with him, but he's come in and he just wanted to make as much money as possible. He's got no ambition. Happy finishing 17th place every season, and he put us back. He set us back 14 years, 2 relegations, 2 near misses, and a 5th place as well. But we could have done a lot more. Pointless managers as well.
Mm-hmm.
What can I say?
Yeah, he is he ripped the heart and soul out of the club essentially. I know a lot of when I worked there when he first took over, and it was fantastic. Obviously, with a new billionaire owner, and like, what's going to happen? How's this club? How's it going to work? But then he just ripped everything out from the inside and just made it divisive, and it's now a decrepit football club and had no heart and soul. And it was all about him. It was all about his money, and which look, I understand it's his business. It is what it is, but at the same time, it's a football club. If we stand still constantly, we'll just not move or go backwards, and that's ultimately what happened with the 2 relegations. Yes, we had that 1 year with Alan Pardew when we got to 5th, which was at the time was remarkable. Somehow we got there. Somehow but again, it's not the ownership. It was the coaching and players. Yes, I might not like Pardew, but he done a pretty decent job. It is what it is. But he's. I mean, I've got no problem with people going into sports stores if they have to and do whatever. That's part that it's a business, So you've got to go where you need to go. But at the same time, I don't like the man, to be perfectly honest, and from on a lot of levels. But again, the balance sheet was what he was looking at constantly, and that's one thing you have to be thankful for. That we were never in debt, or if it was minimal debt, which was easily, from an accountancy standpoint, finance standpoint, it was easy to rectify and get past that small minimal debt, which is probably the most thankful thing I can be for with him. So. With obviously now the new owners coming in with pretty much a flat line to go make us go forward, which but he's still got the finger in the pie. He's still got a lot of entities floating around the club, which is not helpful. But once those contracts or agreements come to an end, then he'll probably be gone forever. So.
Absolutely. Jules, hi to you, Jules. Hope you're having a lovely holiday in Garth. Back and up like you tomorrow. Can't wait to catch you all soon, Jules. I hope you had a fantastic holiday and had a fantastic time as well. And it's great to see you back really, really soon. And I know which channel I saw on there's new rules. I can't tell you.
I think it's something to do with players on and off the field. Law 3, I read it, got reading into it, and it was the most ridiculous change to a rule. Players on and off the pitch, subs on if they score a goal, and it was quite hypocritical in terms of what it was saying, but I would have to read over it again. I think it's Law 3 or 4, something like that. It was weird. Typical FIFA, just throw the spanner into the works and make it more complicated and weird.
Yeah, not good. Got one here from Alan. Hi to Alan. A question for you, Kev. Who would you like to sign as a central defender in the summer?
I don't know. Somebody who can play. I wouldn't give a name. I would give a type or style of. somebody who can obviously defend well. There's a good size, good physique, athletic, but essentially has to be able to play with the ball at feet. Good distribution of the ball, good passer of the ball, and another leader, because I think that's what we need. We've got a lot of leaders, and if we build a team full of leaders, then we'll be very successful moving forward. So couldn't give a name. Not a big fan of Anderson from Palace. I think he just heads it and kicks it. In my opinion, just a big lump essentially. But I think we've got to move on from those types of players. I think we'll have to go for a bit more quality. Again, the Bonucci one, no, he's just too old. Yes, he's almost my age, but at the same time, he'll probably bring a steeliness and a grit to that back four. But at the same time, I just don't think it's a viable option and value there. So, yeah, somebody younger, the profile of the young 20s, 23, 24, somewhere around in there. Like pretty much a right-sided Sven Botman, essentially. But I couldn't give a name.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, I was going to say David Henschko from Feyenoord. He looks a really good defender. I
haven't seen him. I don't watch a lot of European football. It's different. Oh, okay.
But he's left-footed. You kind of have Botman and Henschko at basically at centre defence. He's going to be on balance at the back. But at the end of the day, he looks a decent player. I mean, Anderson, for me, I know you don't want him, but I think he's a cracking player for me. Similar to Fabian Schär, we definitely need another centre-back and to help out Fabian Schär, because he does get injured quite a lot. If he gets injured, then you've got Lascelles. And yes, he's ready made. He's not injured prone, but at the end of the day, we need someone there at this moment in time. But we're going to see what happens in that one. Yeah, and also as well, I mean, the takeover as well, back in 19 months ago. Yep. I mean, what was it like in America when Newcastle announced the takeover? Newcastle fan base in America.
Yeah, it was weird, sitting through the first initial process, then in the summer the previous summer, to say that it's been squashed and all the rest of it. I was sitting there in my apartment balcony, still had cans in the fridge, still ready for them to be opened. You open them, then drink them, get some more, waiting for the news. You're sitting on tenterhooks at that point. But when the news broke, it was weird. It was like a big, massive sigh of relief. We didn't know how it was going to play out, obviously, but we hoped that it was going to be a successful ownership and whatever. And I think it has, and it's going to get even better as we go. But yeah, it was fantastic. Again, fantastic news. Again, similar to the Mike Ashley one. There's a lot of unknowns, but at the same time, I think the catalyst of it all, the Amanda Staveley's and Amanda Staveley, she was pretty much the catalyst behind the whole thing, and she pursued and didn't stop and kept pushing, and that translates into even our first team, essentially, if you look at it that way, in a weird way, that that's what we do. We're not the noisy neighbours. We're not that, because we've got no other neighbours but Sunderland. But it's a constant high press constantly. It's weird how I use that in that way, but yeah, I think she has got a lot to do with it. And I think when over here, especially, we're 5 hours behind. So when we get up and wake up, or if it's throughout the day or breaks late, it's middle afternoon. So you're having a beer at on that day, especially, it's like 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and it pretty much turns into an all-day session. So, but yeah, it was fantastic. Within the group, Toon Army Atlanta, the groups that I'm involved in, and over here, they couldn't believe it. Obviously, because a lot of the fans over here, who are the groups I'm involved in, are pretty much new fans. Yeah. Based on the fact of Miggy Almiron, and when he moved from Atlanta to Newcastle United to then start supporting us. And so it's like they didn't know what to really do, because they just understood Mike Ashley. That's all they knew. And so I've been sort of educator in terms of, no, this is how Ashley was pre him. We've just had 14-year hiatus from being irrelevant. Now we're relevant again. This is how it was back then. And so they tried, and there's a couple of other guys who were in that era as well. So, but all the new ones they're still trying to figure it out. They're still trying to understand. They're still trying to. But once it happened, it was great. I think I went up the next game or the next whenever it was we were playing, just with outside my work stuff, and yeah, it was quite a little party what we had up there at the brew house, which was our little dwelling hall where we go to watch games.
Yeah. Nice one. I mean, look, at the end of the day, I mean, the Newcastle American fans is very, very strong in America, and I mean, it's improving season after season after season. So I think it's really, really good. Yep. And let's hope we get some more Americans supporting the black and whites. Yep. Big up to Foxy, by the way, Sinclair, Kevin, and chat. Hope everyone's well. I love Foxy. He talks a lot of sense as well. He's our South American football expert as well. And let's go on this one as well. More questions from Kev. Is there many Toon supporters where you live? And are you learning Geordie?
There are a few. There's a few from our neck of the woods, we'll say that. But they all support different clubs for some weird reason. There's not many local Geordies here. There's one lad from Yorkshire. There's another guy further south. But Atlanta's a very multicultural city, so you got a lot of different backgrounds from different parts of the country. I think I'm one of only maybe 5 or 6 locals from the city, from Newcastle. Well, I'm originally from Cramlington, but yeah, so I'm trying to learn them Geordie or within certain songs that we sing, and they'll turn around and look and think they've never heard that song before. It's like, what? Yeah, well, you got a local in a bar singing what we would sing at St James's Park or on an away trip. So yeah, even my missus is trying to learn a little bit as well. My kids are half English, so my oldest son, he can drop in a line or two here or there, but now I'm sounding like an American based on that I've been living here 14 years. So it's difficult, it's weird, but I mean my mom's here in town at the minute, and it's like I'm on the back at home literally with her when I talk to her, so I could make a little business out of it, starting teaching Geordie to people, and but yeah, I'll just let them get on with it, and if they pick it up, they pick it up. If they don't, they don't.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Like, I mean, we last seeing that me accent so Geordie, I'm gonna have to tone it down. And what I'm trying to tone it down as well. It's hard, but I am trying to drop the eyes and the eye and stuff like that sort of thing. So at the end of the day, I mean, I'm doing my best, but there you go.
Exactly.
Big up to Gary D, by the way. Hope you're okay, and hope you're having a fantastic time with your wife and family. And yeah, I mean, talk about the new signing as well. And well, we're not going to talk Harvey Barnes, or it will be a new signing, hopefully. Are you happy with that appointment, Harvey Barnes to Newcastle next week, if he comes?
If it comes to fruition, yeah, I think he's a very, very good addition. You don't see a lot of Leicester. You just see what highlights are when Newcastle play him. You see him, and he always looks pretty dangerous when he's running at our fullbacks or wherever he plays. Or I mean, he didn't play at St James's Park towards the end of the season, but I seen some stats stuff on Twitter yesterday, I think it was, and he was up there with the Grealishes of the world, and he was up there with the Sakas of the world in terms of goals and assists, but it didn't seem like he gets the recognition. So, like from an England standpoint, from other quarters within the media, but if it's true that he's turned down Tottenham to come, he wants to play Champions League football and win trophies, that's quite a profound statement. And not followed his mate down there to Tottenham. But again, he's not going to. I said he's not going to get recognition when he was at Leicester. He's not going to get recognition here. He'll just blend in and be again what we call in coaching worlds. He'll be 100%, but I think he'll be more than that. I think he'll give everything that he's got. I think he'll work hard for the team. I think he'll provide more than say like a St Maximin, even probably more than a Miggy. I think he'll chip in with more goals. He scored 12, 13 goals last year or something like that with 25, 13. Something like that. Yeah, it was 25, 30 assists near enough or something like that. So his actions and goals is high, which what we need to the way we play, and I think he'll adopt to Eddie Howe's way of playing quickly. And plus, you know, it's depth, and plus he's got Premier League experience, which is always an Eddie Howe tick of the box if you played in the Premier League and you know how it works and you know how to handle yourself and operate, essentially.
Yeah, true. If you speak to Dan Soof, Nipoli Naz, what you talking about? Never mind America. And that's a Roddy, blessing. I like Roddy. He's a great guy. And if we do get Harvey, then what's going to happen to Alan? Is this career going to be over at Newcastle United? Is this future?
You would have thought so. I think he'd probably stay. I think he'd be ideal for the Champions League. I think there's a little his own niche for him there in the Champions League. The tactical term is obviously I think a lot of teams that would come to St James's Park would play in a very, very low block. Excuse me, and play on a counter attack. And I think, like we did in terms of under Steve Bruce, essentially, he can be our out ball and he can be our legs to get up the field, essentially. So in a low block wherever he plays. If it's not this window, could be January, depending on his performances. And I've said before and other podcasts and things, it's up to him. It's entirely up to him. If he wants to be here, he'll be here. If he doesn't, well, you know, que sera, sera. You know, off you go somewhere else. We'll get you. You're the one with value. You're the one who can bring more money, and it'll be like a free sponsorship, essentially. If you look at it that way, where you're bringing in 25 to 30 million, that's where I would market them at, or value them at. Maybe more, depends on who wants to pay more. You know, if we get the right deal for him, we get the right deal for him. I say it all the time, where there's no sentiment in football. There's no sentimentality. You can't. Yes, we like him. Yes, some people love him. Some people hate him. He's like Marmite, but at the same time, if you let a player go, you just got to move on and go with what we got and bring hopefully better in.
100%. The thing is, so I mean, ASM's had 5 seasons. This is his 5th season at Newcastle United, and look, he's got the tech as he's got all the skill, he's got all the pace in the world, and the dribbling stats is absolutely ridiculous. But if you haven't got them put that to your game, then unfortunately, it's not going to be any good at all whatsoever.
Exactly. Yeah, totally agree. I mean,
a lot of people don't see that.
Yeah, like I said, I was a wide player, and that's what you kind of judged on. Essentially, there was no stats back in the day. You just knew yourself, or the score line suggested, or other people said to you, that was our stat, that was our baseline of, hey, that was a great ball you put in for X today, or that was a great pass for, you know, that was a great dribble and cross, or what, you know, or that was a great goal you scored. So that was enough for me. But you know, that's what in a 4-3-3, that's what a wide players judged on, is crosses, or assists, shots at goal, and goals. Ultimately, yes, you can work hard. Yes, you can track. Of course, you can. That's your bare minimum. But on the other side of it, are you scoring goals? Are you meaningful goals? Are you scoring goals and you know, destroying teams like you did against Man City, which is 1 in 38, near enough. Scoring 1 against Wolves, which is a worldie, but that's 1 in 38 game. You know, it's minimal. So I wouldn't be surprised if he moved. I wouldn't be too disheartened if he left. But you know, you'd be sad to see him go, because you know there's potential there. There's a player there, but is he the right player for Eddie Howe in the system that we play?
Yeah, I couldn't let's disagree with you that at all, mate, because at the end of the day, you're absolutely so spot on. And you know what it is, right? I mean, I love ASM, I really, really do, but I want my wingers to get 10 goals, 10 assists. I mean, Harvey Barnes got 13 goals last season, right, and 1 assist last season. Before that, 6 goals, 10 assists. This guy's improved all the time.
Yeah, and like I said, with the Harvey Barnes one, I wouldn't say it's not a marquee. It's not a huge, not that he's not a huge name, but he's a Premier League star, a young Premier League star. You think any English? Yeah. So, I mean, it's the products there. That's what is forward players, and that's what obviously the coaching staff want, the coaching team want, is end products. Look at Miggy Almiron from not last season, the season before, his output was pretty low. I mean, he couldn't hit a barn door from a yard. I mean, I felt sorry for him because, you know, Miggy, he runs, he works, he's playing with a smile on his face, he loves the game. That's all well and good, but you're not providing, you're not scoring. So this year he's got 11 goals or whatever it was, second top goal scorer or something like that, and he's improved. Alan Saint-Maximin stood still. So
yeah, that's the thing.
Essentially, and again, like it's up to him. It's in here. Do you want to play for this? Do you want to play? Are you going to play? Is it your head or your heart? What do you want to do? We can't make that decision. I think the club are forcing his hand a little bit. Don't know in what way, shape, or form, but I think they're trying to not ease him out, but maybe just ease him out with a size 10 up his arse. Quite, you know.
Yeah.
Because you've seen the pictures when Tonali came in, his car's still there.
Yeah.
I mean, why is your car there? Well, he just does what he wants. And you don't need players like that.
Exactly. Totally agree. But I think Alan's got a decision to make in the summer.
Yep.
I heard the media are saying after Moussa Diaby, apparently he could be off to Arsenal, Alan, but we don't know what to believe anymore. I really don't. Leslie would love him there as well. And Anthony would be a great signing. Got one here from Foxy, top place Atlanta. Great food, beautiful men, decent soccer team. Surprised Atlanta just left Aranjo leave for Flamengo. And he's a big player.
Yeah, he was. But again, it was product. I mean, he could run with a ball all day and all the rest of it, but it was his end product. So Ruju went down back to Flamengo, and the MLS market's weird. You get monies for different players, designated players, player caps, salary caps. It's not complicated, but it's complicated to explain. It's weird. Yeah, but Atlanta's an interesting city. We'll call it that. It's, you know, I live outside of it, so I only go into it when I have to, just based off of traffic, because I could sit in 2 hours, 3 hours worth of traffic and go nowhere. So I just stayed on my little plot of land down here on the south side. So yeah, if you ever get over to America, come visit it. You'll have an experience. Again, it's diverse. There's a lot of things you can do from whatever you want. You'll find it here in Atlanta.
Wow, it looks really, really interesting. It looks a big city as well. John and Kevin, would you have Moussa Diaby over ASM? Would you have Moussa Diaby?
Yeah, I'll probably have him over him. I've never seen much of him, but again, he's obviously of the age and the product and Champions League experience, and looks like one of the top European up and comers from out of Germany. So, but again, it's with the Diaby thing. It's again, is it going to look like a Madison type of scenario where we chase him for 2 or 3 windows and it'll all fall flat, or do we actually get him? You know, again, the unknowns, the greatest thing that we can have right now, and that's we don't know who we're getting. There's all these rumors, but we just need to sit back and enjoy the potential of and talk about it, because normally we're talking about who we're going to get to stay up in the division, who are we going to stay up this year type of thing. It's now who we're going to get to actually push on to get into another Champions League or another final or whatever that looks like. So it's a nice conversation to have.
Yeah. Do you think, I'll ask you the question like Leslie, I've asked a few in my chat as well, I've asked my guests as well. Do you think Newcastle United and all should come out and say, look, we're not after this player, this needs to stop, blah, blah, blah? Or do you think they won't do it?
No, I think they'll keep cards very, very close to the chest and use a lot of smoke screens, use a lot of, like with the Tonali deal, I think there was a lot of other things going on, but actually it was Tonali that we were going for, not said Barella, whatever he was called, from Inter Milan. I think that was used as a conveniently in the same city, conveniently, and we're looking at him, we're looking at a central midfielder. But all of a sudden now we'll go after his mate and at AC and we'll get him. You know, so I think there's a lot of things in place to where, okay, it would look like where we're going to buy this guy or this player, but no, actually not. We'll just pivot and go and get this player. So it's like distractions for the media side of it. It's just playing the game. It's just playing the game, and I think they're playing the game really well.
Yeah, fair enough. I asked that question because I've always said that I need to come out and make a statement, but obviously I'm going to lose the argument. That's fine. That's fine.
Your opinion, right? That's your opinion.
Exactly, man. Kevin, who would you drop in the team for Denali? That's a very interesting one. Hi, Jules. How you doing?
It depends what shape he wants to go with. It depends on what or who we're playing. And that shape might suggest who will not play. I wouldn't initially start him. It depends on the fitness of Sean Longstaff, and Joe Willock. So we'll see how that comes about and see what they're looking like. I know they've been with Newcastle Blue Star recently, and doing their fitness programs and doing whatever else they've been doing just to get ready for coming back in. I think they'll come back in today or something like that. So that day or tomorrow. So it just depends on where the centre midfield sits. Probably, unfortunately, I'll probably have to. But it's a double edge. Do you drop Sean Longstaff, or do you drop Joe Linton or Joe Willock, or do you push Joe Willock wider, or do you play Joe Linton wider, or do you play two in holding midfield where you have Tonali and Bruno? I could put Joe Willock as like the 10, or do you put Anthony Gordon there as the 10? So again, what the nice thing is options, but just for the sake of the question, it'll probably be unfortunately Sean Longstaff to maybe dip out. It depends. I mean, it could be Joe Linton. It just depends where Eddie sees him how he sees him play. We could talk all day about where and what's and the who's and possibilities of, but ultimately, again, it'll be horses for courses. And where does he see fit? Again, he could play 5 in midfield. He could go 3 at the back and play 5 in midfield, which Tonali's very happy playing in Italy, and breaking lines with dribbles and stuff like that from deep, which he's done in the past, which I've seen he's done it for the 21s with Italy. So again, more than likely it'll be a Sean Longstaff that might just have to miss out.
Fair enough. Very, very interesting. We have to see what happens, but we do need a strong team and a strong midfield, and it could be 1 or 2 be dropped for cup games, people playing the Premier League, and see what happens on there. Got one for Ronald. I still get annoyed when Raw fans have now good to say about ASM and Andy Gordon. Maybe I'm old-fashioned in not slating our players or Ronald, mate. I mean, we're talking about opinions. You got your own opinion. We respect that, but at the same time, we have to have a say as well. You can't sugarcoat things, mate. If you're not performing, then we have to say so, mate. Do you know what I mean? I mean, other clubs like Arsenal and Tottenham, United and City, their fans are exactly the same thing, yeah? But if he doesn't play well, then we need to speak about it. I love ASM, right? At the end of the day, he has some good moments, but some of the moments I've watched of him, he's been having some poor moments, yeah? He hasn't got an end product. And we have to realise that. We have to look at the bigger picture. Do you know what I mean? It's like when you do a transfer, people watching YouTube saying, "Oh, why he's great, get him in. That is just trying to see the strengths, the strong strength. They're not looking at the weakness side. You've got to look at everything, though, Kevin. Do you know what I mean? You can't just say one thing and not say the other.
Yeah, and I use this in my coaching world and have a debate with coaches and players even, and parents even more so, is my eyeballs don't lie. My eyeballs don't lie. So what I see is what I see, and I derive my opinion. It's not a judgmental opinion. It's just what's produced in front of me. Everybody's got an opinion. This is the most opinionated sport in the world, and that's why we love it. It's the most social sport in the world, and that's why we love it, because we can do things like this, sit around, have a beer, whatever, and still talk about the same things that we're talking about. I'm not going to fall out with you over it. It's like, you've got that. Okay, great. Excuse me. Me and my dad used to argue about all sorts of different players all the time, but you know what? We're still going to go to the next home game. We're still going to talk. We'll move on. It's just how it works. That's how this business works. So again, your eyes don't lie. If it doesn't fit what you think should be happening, or what stats tell you, or whatever, then you're going to stick with that opinion, unless the player himself or herself changes your opinion of that from their performance.
Yeah, and that's the YouTube as well. We've got to speak the truth. We've got to speak the truth. We can't be nicey all the time. You have to look at one thing, then you got to flip it up and what's his weakness are. You know, the perfect fact is Tim Vickery. When you go for the Brazilian or Argentine player, he'll speak the truth.
Oh, absolutely.
Good things, then they tell you some negative things as well, which is quite right. This is all about because he's the expert and he's got to be truthful. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
simple
absolutely.
as that. So Foxy Diaby has nearly played as many games on the left in his career than he has on the right. Would be our most versatile winger if he gets in. I tell you what, if you're getting 50 million quid, that'd be fantastic. But 50 mil and no more than that. Good afternoon to Gareth. Hope you're good. Not on gone in and catch up what I've missed late. That you do that, mate. It's on playback as well. And very few teams have 2 wingers scoring double digits. That's some Truls, which is true. And just chatting to Truls and Jez and Jules as well. Right, you used to be a coach at Newcastle, like Academy side, and you got any stories to tell us about when you was at your time?
Not really. I unfortunately got released when I was young within my career from Newcastle United, actually, and then went to Sunderland and then left there just because it was Sunderland and a lad from Newcastle. But then I took up coaching, but I didn't get into the full academy setup. What my role was I was the head or like a lead development coach, what they're called now, where I used to work within the foundation to identify kids in schools, kids in talent ID camps that we used to run, like all-star games, festivals, and run advanced centers. So it was just one under the academy, but it was I was one of the head coaches there. And I worked there for, well, good Lord, since I was about 6 years or something like that, just trying to get players through the door, just for the actual academy. But then when I moved over here, I took up not a similar role. I've got my own team. So how it works in the United States is we have academies where people pay money. And I coach their kids, and they've got different levels. But now I work for one of the biggest clubs in the whole of the state of Georgia, and we've got pretty much what's it called now? MLS Pro Next, MLS Next Pro, which is like USL, which is like the championship over here. So it's like you've got loads of youth academy high levels. So I'm heavily involved in that. So that's what I do now. So that experience, and John Carver was my coach at the club, and learned a lot from him and learned a lot from others. Elliot Dickman was at Sunderland when I was there. He was a coach there who was at Newcastle United. Jed McNamee, others, right? Pop Robson, who was at Sunderland. So you've developed a lot of things from other coaches and other people. When you're playing, you don't even think about it. But now I've took that into my own career, and all sorts of good stuff. Yeah, so it's been quite a ride in the coaching world. So it's quite a, when I listen to Eddie Howe's podcast, it was so true. It's quite a lonely place sometimes. So it's but we'll get through it. We'll move on. We'll do 4 nights a week and about 400 games a weekend. And it keeps me busy, keeps me occupied. We're about to get kicked back up here again in a few weeks. So because we start later just based on the 95-degree temperatures and all that sort of fun stuff here. So
wow,
yeah,
it's probably hot over there, man. It really is, man.
It's toasty. Let's just say that it's toasty. So when the kids come out, we're doing pre-season, a full pre-season like a youth academy in England would, but running all the fitness stuff, and have special events put on for them, because we've got like 10 locations across the state. So we're one different location from our main essential office. So we do our own thing, but it's a coach-run club. The guy who runs it, he's an Englishman. We've got 90% English or 90% Europeans in there, so it's a very European-based methodologies that we play and what we do. We'll kick lumps out of people. We'll work hard first, and then we'll play a bit of football on top of that. And that's our kind of coach methodology and what we have to do.
Yeah. And you just mentioned Eddie Howe as well. And as manager, what's your take on Eddie Howe since he's taken over? How good a job he's done? Can he take Newcastle all the way to the title in future years?
Well, first part of the question, I think Eddie Howe's a brilliant coach. I'd love to stand up, sit and watch him just take a session. And that would be it. I would just see how he would conduct himself on the training pitch, because I think it would be a great watch, you know. But outside of that, you obviously only see him on the sideline, on the touch lines, in front of a camera for the media. And it's just his conduct, the way he comes across, his knowledge, his depth of what he wants, and he's quite stubborn in that, which you have to be, and which is not a bad thing, but it could be to your own detriment at the same time. He said that himself. But I think it was a lot of people were saying previously to him, Eddie Howe coming in, who would you get? I'll get Jose Mourinho, whoever. I said, yeah, fantastic. But the type of football that Newcastle United fans want to see is not going back to Rafa, but not sitting in and not scraping a 1-0 and work, you know, which is fine. Look, win a game, but we want to be entertained. We want to be seeing expansive type of football, scoring goals, not conceding as many, thankfully. But you know what? That's what the game's all about. So, do I think he'll take us to the next level? I'll put a fat question mark on top of that. I think it's too early to say. Maybe not. It just depends on his recruitment and depending on whether he can take himself to that level. Because if he takes himself to that level, then the team will follow. Because I think everybody's right behind him within the club. So I'll just maybe give me another season and we'll see where we're at.
Cool. That's fine. Got a couple more questions as well. Got one for Leslie. Kevin, why did you go to Atlanta?
I landed here based on my coaching world, and I traveled around the United States coaching camps for about 5-6 years. And then now my ex, but I met a Southern Belle, we'll call them over here. I met a girl and got married and things like that, and found myself here in Atlanta. So yeah, that's how I got over here and been here ever since. And I love it.
About that, sorry about that. I got what you mean. I was just technical problems as well. I do so apologize, mate, but I got what you mean. Like so, and yeah, so it's a good answer. Thanks for that, Les. I'm not against us getting Harvey Barnes, as the statistics last season in the relegation team are quite impressive. And good luck to Anthony soon for England. Yes, he's in the under 21s finals as well for England and played against Spain in a bit as well. Kevin, did you ever look at the talent at the Wallsend Boys Club?
I didn't, but we played them plenty of times and beat them. I played for Cramlington Juniors, Alan, so it wasn't one of those where I would go into clubs and get talent. I wasn't a scout. I was more a, hey, let's run this thing, run like school holidays. Like, let's run a coaching session through that, or camps, or whatever you want to call them. I'll go into schools and say, like, the Wallsend area, wherever we got told to go, and just run a 6-week course. And then if you identify anybody, they all get invited into a bigger like festival coaching thing. And then those who are good enough there would go into an advanced center. Those good enough in the advanced center would then go into, hopefully, or have a trial or whatever into the full academy. Dip my toe into it a little bit, done a little bit within that, but I know that was a little bit jobs for the boys at that time. Still is, but that's from what I know and people actually who I know within that realm. That's how it still is today. And yeah, so it wasn't exactly. I played against Wolves, like I said. I played against Wallsend Boys Club a lot, and it was either us, myself, Cramlington, my team, Cramlington Juniors, who was predominant, similar to Wallsend, but not exactly the amount of players who went on to being pro. We had a few, but not as many. Like the Stephen Taylors of the world came out of Cramlington Juniors. But Alan Shearer even started at Cramlington Juniors, then went to Wallsend Boys Club. Not many people might not know that. So yeah, it was always. I mean, I've got a lot of friends who played there when we went through the youth ranks, the schoolboy football. And we got together as 16s. We won a national championship from the area. A lot of lads from Wall's End. I mean, I played with Graham Carrick, you know, who's now the 18s coach. I played with him. He was a teammate of mine, and a few others, Martin Britton and people like that. So we had a very good team, especially from the northeast. We beat Durham in the final, and they were good times. So yeah, it wasn't exactly scouting there. I've got a lot of friends who are scouts, looking at that, who do that now still. So yeah, it was not that role. I wish it was. I wish I could do that role. I'm trying to do that role over here and trying to get in contact with the club to try and do something like that here because of the talent. What I see and across the country here is immense. I mean, you just got to find them.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm sure there'll be more talented lads from Wall's End Boys Club in future years, and you're just waiting. We are just waiting for someone, and someone's going to come out and make us one of the best teams in the world and be a world-class player. Like
they're out there somewhere. We're just got to find them.
100%. Time will come, and I'm sure Eddie Howarth, that man, and his coaching team will be as well. Would be great to get Barnes. So ASM had real competition on the left side, and got one here from Foxy. Question: have you noticed any difference in the country towards football since Messi deal to Ireland being official? Although it'll never be as popular as NFL and NBA, you think it overtakes hockey and basketball?
They'll not take over the NFL or NBA. Baseball's the America's game. So that it's very hard here to promote. The women's side, the girls' side is a lot easier to promote because they win the World Cup nearly every year. So that's a help. The men's side is a little bit more difficult, but it's getting more popular. Obviously, it's more popular. It's the most participated sport in the country, but it's just not seen as one of the top sports in this country, it is what it is. So it's like, you know, fighting an uphill battle half the time. And, you know, you get kids who play, I'm going to go to basketball practice. I'm playing baseball in the spring. I'm doing this. I'm doing that. It's like, well, great. We're like multi-sport athletes, but at some point you got to pick one. And so that's maybe the problem. I mean, I know youth American football's a lot cheaper than soccer over here. The kids, some of the kids pay potentially up to per season, including tournaments and things like that, could pay up to nearly $15,000 a year just to play for a season. And that's travel, that's hotels, that's wherever they've got to go and play. So it's quite obviously there's a big expense to it, which is a massive problem.
Yeah, absolutely. It's such a big country, USA. And they choose picking their sports like NFL after a great year is a massive football.
Oh yeah,
100%. On NBA as well. And I'm afraid soccer or football takes third place over there, third or fourth place. And yeah, Harvey be quality and Young be a great signing. Let's hope Newcastle invest more in local talent. Aston Allen, he's absolutely correct there. And good to see Gordon starting for England 21 against Spain. And one final question. Newcastle, can we finish better than fourth next season?
Hope so. You know, it's going to be a tall order to do so. We've got to produce the same levels of play. For me, if we turn the draws that we had into wins, then absolutely. But that was pretty much our downfall last year. We had too many draws, which is part of this. Is what it is. You know, it happens. But again, we just had too many. I mean, it's not a loss. It's 2 points dropped, essentially. You know, if we got another, I don't know, 5 wins, that would take us up in 80-odd points, pushing second. 30, or well, definitely pushing second, because I think we're better than Manchester United. So again, it just depends on what the Chelseas do, the Liverpools of the world do, how they integrate their sides. Tottenham, what they're going to do, because I don't know. I think they'll struggle. I think Chelsea will struggle. Again, I would love to see us, Yeah, 4th or 5th, get us into the Champions League, whatever that looks like. Have another cup run, and actually, when we get to Wembley this time, actually pick the trophy up.
Yeah,
instead of getting a silver medal around the neck. But that would be another positive season for me.
Absolutely. You could not have said any better, Kevin. Honestly, brilliant stuff. Well, listen, Kevin, thanks so much for that, man, for coming on. And it's been really fantastic to get you on here.
Yep.
And before I let you go, I'll go out and we'll do backstage as well quickly. And can you tell the viewers where can we find you, please?
Really, I don't know my Twitter handle. I think it's @Chilvers Kevin or something like that.
Yeah.
I jump on the NUFC Matters. I know you've been on there a few times. Yeah, so I pretty much keep myself to myself on social media. I don't get involved in all of that. But if you give me a follow, I might give you a follow back. I'll say it just depends what type of day I'm having.
Yeah.
I'm on, again, NUFC Matters, and I do the Monday show, the Fans Forum. I do the Wednesday show. Geordie's here, Geordie's there, which is fans from around the world. And then, yeah, that's pretty much all I do, you know. Give the club I work for, SSA, a follow. Just, I don't know their handles and all the rest of it. Again, it's just search them out and have a look and see what's going on there, and just give us a little bit of support from across the pond. So yeah, that's where you can find me.
Fantastic stuff. Thanks for that. Just a few more comments before we wrap up. Thanks so much for joining us, Kevin.
Yep.
Great show. Thank you, Jules. Someone like Jules last season should have been wins and BR robbed us. I have to agree. Agree. Great show, John, and Kevin, great knowledge. Thank you for that, Alan. Take care, Jules, and cheers. And thank you, Foxy, as well, top guests. And Jules again, and great to have you on the show, Kev. Fantastic show, John. Cheers. Share the love to Cheers. Share the love to Leslie and Jules, me mods as well, and in the chat as well. And guys, if you like the video, like what you see, then please like, subscribe, and also super chat if you want to do that. And also, if you'd like to become a member, it's just 99p. I've got just over 30 members on my members list as well. Appreciate that as well. And as always, I'll be back in for the next one. And until then, guys, have a fantastic evening.